I'm your host, Sharada Devi, of the Born to be Free podcast that serves as a bridge between the ancient and the new era, a confluence of opposites where all is seen as sacred and every experience is meant to catapult you into your supreme destiny. Welcome, everyone, to this new episode of Born to be Free podcast. I am Sharada Devi, your host. And here we are with a very special guest, a very dear friend of mine, an old friend. You see how old we are? No. But old in terms of old because we know each other for more than 30 years. We grew up together in a town called Davos in Switzerland, the highest city in Europe. And we were best friends. We did many mischievousness together. And we have an incredible journey that we want to share with you and how we have reconnected again after decades, having gone our own way, having been maverick beings, maverick lemmings, like we from a very young age chose to walk our own path, made radical choices, left Switzerland at a very young age in our teenager time. And Nathalie is here with me today, Nathalie Sommer, intimacy coach, erotic blueprint, therapist coach. She has had her own Gypsy and the Cat Cafe in Australia. She's been into natural oil essence, like the therapy, to work with oil essence. I remember studying natural therapy, herbal therapy, had her own business in Australia, then moved to Hong Kong, had her own retreat center. She's an incredible chef, and now she lives in Spain, in Oliva, where she holds retreats, very special, intimate retreats for individuals, but also for couples, where you can come and visit her, as well as in Mexico. In Mexico, she lives in Mexico in the winter, and she guides couples, individuals online, and also in person. And she's here today. There's so much I want to say about you, Nathalie. I'm so happy that you're here with me and that our paths have crossed again. And she also joined my recent Mistress Mind container called the Diamond, a 6 months intimate group mentorship program where we polish the diamond that we are. And she chose to join that after all these years. So we want to share about our incredible journey, stories of heartbreak, stories of, yeah, that will inspire you. So thank you so much for being here today with me. Welcome, Nathalie.
Thank you, Sharada. So good to be here with you. And yeah, we've walked quite the path together. And, I think that we get to reconnect in this way and also through the diamond, going even deeper. It's just so special. And we come from such a small place in Switzerland. And I think it has taken courage for us both to really live true to our hearts and follow our path. I think that's why we probably just felt naturally pulled towards each other, because we just knew there was something that we both shared. And I guess it is really living life true to our hearts. And I think what I so love and admire about you, like you have been on this path for forever, for as long as I know you, just like really polishing yourself, polishing the diamond. And so also when I heard about the program, I was like, yes, this is just now ready for me to connect with, and just it's like that next step. And I just knew, and I've been watching you walk your journey, your path, and I feel so inspired by you. And I was like, right, it's my time to learn from you.
Thank you for sharing. And yeah, I feel honored. I was so touched when you said that you want to join the Diamond. I also knew that it's going to move me in different ways, like you being a mirror to me, mirroring certain aspects of me, knowing me from that place that, yeah, this young girl also that has been with me, of course, all my life, but then also going on a spiritual journey and leaving Switzerland and, you know, yourself, it's like we leave in one way a part behind, but then when we are on this healing journey, we get to pick up all these parts. But then when we have mirrors from our old life, they come up again and we get to integrate them on a whole other level. So there's no running away really. And so for me also it was so profound for you to be in that container and just yeah, showing yourself in this raw way, in your strength, and me being able to celebrate you and you celebrate me. Because yeah, naturally when we grew up, we also have had jealousy and even though we loved and admired each other so much, but natural there was also jealousy going on. And and for us now to come together and just like be on this path of growth and empowerment, and especially in the realm of sexuality also, like we're walking side by side and there to celebrate each other and support each other, because it's sometimes seems like it's all this amazing life that we live, like traveling around and living in Mexico and living having your house in Spain and living working online. And yes, it's all amazing, and it's also tough, right, to have your own business and making it in this online world and putting yourself out there again and again and again. Like all this imposter syndrome can come up, they do come up. And that's why we need each other. Like, we got this, we do this. And then working in a field of sexuality, which is really one of the topics that is still very much taboo in this world right now. And I know it's just like right, we're just at the beginning, like of opening up this chapter. Yeah. So I
I
would
think,
love to hear a little bit like from you, like, yeah, what brought you? And so for those that don't know you, so they can get to know you, just a little bit of your background, um, how you come to be an intimacy coach, doing what you're doing.
yeah, well, I think you already shared a little bit about my my professional journey. So I also left Switzerland when I was 19. I moved across the other side of the world to Australia. And I've been self-employed since the age of 21 years old. So I just knew if I'm going to do something, I really want it to be true to me. And I've worked in holistic therapy areas. I had to retreat. I've always done actually some sort of healing therapy work. And when I lived in Hong Kong, a lot of people will come to be around relationships and around sexuality. Well, firstly, it's very taboo there. And secondly, when you then look at the expat world, there's just so much chaos and affairs and relationship hardship. And I realized, okay, there's just something more for me to learn in order for me to help others. And then, of course, as we all know, the ones who are on the personal growth journey, you start to learn, and it's like, wow, there's just so much that is ready for me to learn and for me to integrate. So I've been on this path of working relationship, intimacy, feminine embodiment for the last 8 years, and it's been life-changing. And, you know, when I joined the Diamond, like one thing that really like, I mean, there were so many things that was like, but there was one practice, and it was actually in our last call, which was just so liberating. But I think what I loved about our friendship, and maybe this is also why we're doing the work that we do, like we've always been so sensual with each other, and like just touching, and we were always so touchy and just very much connected to that sensual aspect. And when you were visiting me here in Oliva, we would even as grown-ups, we always kind of reconnected in that way, in a friendship. Okay, I see you as a woman, I celebrate you as a woman, and in your sexuality, and vice versa. But on this last call, and I knew other people in there, and you sometimes think like, okay, I've done already enough healing around my sexuality, but there was like this little girl inside of me that was like, okay, so I'm now going to be doing this liberating sex practice, and I get to do this with my best childhood friend. And another friend that also joined, that I also know since I'm a teenager, and another very, very, another very dear sister. And I was like, okay, so at first it's like, well, how do you feel about this? And then I realized this is just actually so beautiful and so special that we get to share our sexual energy with people that we know from a long time or that we call our closest friends. And it just felt very sacred and very liberating. And just again, a reminder of how there should just be no shame around this. And to share in this frequency together was just wow, this is just so, so beautiful.
Yeah, it can almost not explain it with the mind. Like it doesn't, there's no reason that can explain. It's something that needs to be felt and then an experience. And in that experience, you discover this sacred innocence. And we come back to that sacred erotic innocence, an energy that so many people are afraid of. We have seen how this sexual energy has been abused and misused, and we are afraid of that, which is so powerful and can liberate us so profoundly. And going there, like, it's like, okay, what am I doing? Oh my God, is that okay? But then you're in it when you're in the right container with the right time, the right place. You feel safe. You discover it's the most natural moment, and we're just sharing love and beauty and one of the most exquisite feelings of the whole spectrum of feelings and emotions on the human scale. And why have we, like, why wouldn't we not want to share this one with each other, but with ourselves? Like it, yeah, it's something one just had to experience. It's very difficult to put in words, but I'm, yeah, so touched that it touched and moved you so deeply. And it's the same for me. It feels so magical. Like it's hard to put in words and to
Yeah.
have that with each other. And also like placing an intention, a deep wish, a deep desire as we do the ritual. And then wishing, like we have the same wish for each other, for this to be fulfilled. And we're bringing all our love, all our orgasmic mm, experience and energy to that. Like, wow, what a gift to the world. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
and I think what I felt was so beautiful afterwards in the sharing as well. I mean, we're all in our safe space at home and in privacy, you're guiding us, but it was such a liberation for each and every one of us. And then to come back to the sharing and seeing each other in this freeing of such deep shame, and just like everybody has just connected to like this deeper part of themselves and feeling more in that power. It was just like whatever we normally would consider shameful, and then we turn it into liberation. It was just, and to share it together just felt so, so beautiful, just so beautiful. And yeah, why would we not want to cheer each other on in that, in our liberation and in our fullness, in what it means to be in this body.
mm, yeah, like from shame to liberation, from shame to dignity. And that's really, I feel that's the core work of sacred sexuality, conscious sexuality, helping people to reclaim that part.
Yeah. And what I also, and I think something that I still sometimes struggle with is to be in my full vulnerability.
Mm,
And what made this so beautiful in the different practices that we did, like just really receiving the space to be our most vulnerable self that maybe we would find hard to share about. And that is just so beautiful when we have this, when we, or for me, when I receive this permission that I just get to be whatever is something, or whatever the thing that I feel a bit, oh, this is a bit of an edge to share, or fear of judgment, that I can really share this, and like just this, I get to just be welcomed in whatever I have. And there was also one thing that you and I talked about that is so deeply rooted in our childhood and in our experiences, and to look at that and to be vulnerable around that. Yeah, I think having the safe space, it's like, okay, Nat, and now just you can be more in your fullness. And I think that was also why I joined the diamond. I want to be more in my fullness. I don't want to be hiding. I don't want to be in this fear of being seen and holding back and making myself small. So I think when we get to meet ourselves in this vulnerability, what am I really scared of?
What are you really scared of? Could you discover that in that journey?
Yeah. So what came up for me was, the upbringing from what I've taken from my family and from my mother, and in how she's showing up, and my father, in how what I perceived in what I should be like. And there's this part of me, it's like, okay, be sweet. And then it's also okay to be like in your sexual liberation, and then just like blending the two of them, that I thought I had to be. But of course it's also me, but it's not fully me. That, in some ways it's just like these two polarities that just didn't quite mesh together. And somewhere I just, still working on it, but there's just this fear of really being seen in who I am, in what I believe to be true. And so it just gave me this understanding, and okay, just share, drop the masks, share what is really happening there.
Yeah. Again, two things that stand out a lot for me is, one, I'd love to talk about, the sweet girl and then the sexually liberated girl or woman, actually, and how maybe as a teenager or even as an adult, we unconsciously play those archetypes out. Like, I'm the sweet girl to get attention. I am the sexually liberated woman to get attention. And there's a big difference when we're playing this out consciously, but not to get attention. It's a play, right? It's a part of us that we're playing out, and it's not to get attention or manipulate or seduce, but like, why do we do that? Like, what is it really like? And I feel, and that leads us to what you're saying, like to drop the mask and really be in my full power. Like, who is it? Who are you? If you're like fully in your power, like, who is that, Nathalie?
Thank you. And I love that, that you also asked me this like, who is that? And she's just here. Like, I am just me here in this moment, who I am naturally in my fullness. And that really stuck with me, because I can often feel like this contraction, the holding back, the pulling back, the fear. And it's just, okay, come back to your fullness. Just come back to the here, to the now. And what are you actually really scared of? Like, what is it that I'm really, really scared of? So it has been very liberating.
And what is it that you're really, really scared of? What is it? That's the question for everyone. What am I really, 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 really scared of?
Yeah, I'm gonna get rejected, or that I'm even deeper, that I'm not lovable.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not lovable. That
Yeah.
I'm not lovable. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's been interesting in the way how I've been bringing that aspect into being single now, and married for a long time, being single now. So bringing this aspect into my dating experiences and also into my business as well. I can just feel like even in my work, there's more of like, okay, this is me here, and this is me, and I'm doing it my way. I think sometimes what I realize is I get caught up in what are other doers, or what is the right way to do, and how should I be showing up in social media or in my work. And it's also like, this is just me here, and this is my way of being, this is my way of doing things, and this is what I'm going to be creating And same when it comes to relationships and dating. There's often so many things of the way how it should be done, but okay, what feels really right for me here? Just me being me that I need, that feels good and true to me. And it's been very interesting because I feel like I've been able to attract some really beautiful people into my life because of that.
Do you want to share a little bit more about that?
we had a we had a brief chat about this before we jumped on here, but it's amazing how, I think I also had this idea, okay, in order for me to meet a conscious man, I have to go into conscious communities, and then there we'll meet the evolved men. Well, I've been spending lots of time in those communities, and I have not met some beautiful men, but also many that I thought this is what would feel good, actually wasn't really true and right for me. And just being more in this fullness and creating invitation for others to meet me in this fullness has been, I've met some beautiful people on dating apps. When I go grocery shopping, and the most, like the most random places where you would not think you would meet beautiful people, but they really, I think the more I'm just like, this is me here, this is what I'm available for, this is what I'm open for, this is what feels good for me, then they just either step in or they don't step in. And usually they just want to step in and step up and meet you there. So it's been very beautiful. And, with even people that don't live the conscious life, I mean, they live it consciously in their way, but naturally they haven't done any workshops or trainings. They just are invited to be also maybe in their fullness.
I love that. That's so heartwarming, and what I think will soothe the hearts of many, because we can have this also maybe fantasy, like this man or this woman or this being, that they are this like extraordinary, and we are all extraordinary, but actually, like when we really come down to what do we really want in a relationship or in a relating, in a lovership, or, and you mentioned it before also, is that safety. and and in the spiritual world, in the conscious world, there's there's a lot of wonderful beings, and there's also often some bypassing happening, or some mask, some charade, and it's not always safe. I have seen it also living in Bali for all these years. It's very what's the word? Trans, not transcendent, but you meet people and it's easy to like meet and then go and then meet and then go. And all of that has also space and time for it. But then at the end, to all the beings that I talk to, when I really ask, what do you really want? It is to be truly met, to the simplicity of it, to feel safe, to be listened to be understood. And it's actually very simple. It doesn't have to be this yeah, hocus pocus spiritual person, because at the end, like, spirituality can be so misunderstood and placed on the pedestal. And for me, the true spirituality is the simplicity and the realness, the authenticity, to show our vulnerability. And it's actually very simple. It's very grounded. And I think we all need to hear that.
Yeah, and I think for me, having learned that I just want to be cared for, and I really want to care for somebody else, and making each other feel cared for, that creates also a sense of safety. And it's simple, like, let me care for you, or let me show that I care about you. And that means by making time for you or showing up a certain way. And it really is so simple. It really is so simple. And of course, conscious practices also really help. And I think they are also there to help us maintain long-term relationships. But in the essence, and, you know, from my experience, although living in Tulum, in Mexico, not so much in Oliva, the small town where I live, it's a bit more simple. But often there can be a bit of like, from my self-experience, from personal experience as well myself, we can sometimes become a bit floaty. And, you know, what do I really commit to? And not that it has to be this one person, but just, okay, being really present with that person and care for this person in this moment in time. I think that has been really, really beautiful to realize that and to feel that.
Yeah, yeah, we all want to be cared for. Like, and I love what you said. How can I care and how can I give? Like that's also the whole vision of the Vedic tradition, which has been my life passion the last 20 years. It's really about how can I care, how can I give back, instead of like what can I get? And that's where we often the relationship fails because we want the other to complete us, to please us, to respond to all our agendas, and we have a complete misunderstanding of what the relationship is really here for. And that was, I know, like for me, that was the big learning, the big wake up call. And I know you also have been married, like, and living in that old paradigm maybe, and living those paradigms even out. And then the big wake up call is like, wow, the relationship is really here to help us grow and see how can I contribute, how can I give, how can we support each other, how can I be free in the relationship and not be a slave to this relationship. So yeah, I'd love to explore this topic a little bit more. I think it's a very juicy topic, and we all want to know, like, how can I live a healthy, inspiring, juicy, intimate relationship and also maintain it? Because I feel that's also a big skill to have, like especially when you're together for a long time. And often, like that's where then also the sexuality, sometimes it we lose the attraction to each other. And so how to maintain and keep the flame in the relationship, even in a long-term relationship.
Yeah. I just want to share from my marriage. You know, we have now such a beautiful friendship. So our relationship is even better than what it was before. Maybe because there's no more expectation of having sex with each other. I don't know. Or just all the expectations that we put on somebody else that we relate with. But I think we really lost. I mean, we were able to manage our sex life. Not many. We were able to experience beautiful intimacy until the end. But one thing that wasn't working for us was that we had very different core needs and core values or core needs in our relationship. And I think, you know, in the beginning, there is the chemistry there, and that sometimes gets overlooked what are actually really my core needs and my core values. And then with time, you know, when they're not being met, then for me, it turned into a lot of pain. Like I wanted to be able to have this deep emotional intimacy and communication. And when I didn't experience that, it felt something was just really important to me that was lacking or missing. And even though we had a lot of care for each other, we did actually have that, but there's just this deeper emotional connection that we just couldn't get there together for different reasons. And I think when we often enter a new relationship, because it feels so good, we often forget actually what are my core values. What is it that is actually, for me, it's to feel my core values. I want to feel safe in myself. I want to feel safe that we can communicate and discuss difficult topics and not just shirk them away. I want to feel safe that, okay, when there is something there that you don't like, talk to me about it. So I think looking at that core and now entering new relationships, this is like a core value of mine, a core need. I want us to be able to create safety where we can bring our whole, the vulnerable piece again, to bring my vulnerability to the table, and it can feel safe for me to be vulnerable. And I think that then also with time, okay, we have more relaxed nervous systems. So when we have more relaxed nervous systems, of course, then also we can be a lot more relaxed in our body. So it creates more, the touch can be received more in its fullness, and we can, because we can go so deep emotionally. So now also, how can we go and meet ourselves so deep in our sexuality as well, by bringing our desires to the table and talking about them. And I think, you know, one thing that I love about sexuality, there's always more to explore. Our bodies can always learn more and feel more, and it's never ending. And that's just so beautiful. So let's keep on exploring together versus, and it feels comfortable to stick to the mundane because we know now what works, but there's always so much more to explore. So just to stay curious.
Yeah. Yeah, stay curious, and the vulnerability, like I feel that's what is so scary for so many, to really share this deep vulnerability, and sexuality really brings that up because there are desires, there are wishes, and like the desire to be met in our vulnerability, in our desires. And if the other person cannot do that, I'm always speaking about, at the end, we have to be able to do that for ourselves. It is my journey to be able to meet my needs, meet my become my own best lover. And then also it's natural and totally uh, natural and or organic to desire that from someone outside to be met. And often if I'm not met in my relationship, like it's because I'm not meeting myself yet there. That's always like the question I ask to my students or clients, like when it comes about the relationship and they're not getting what they want from their partner, I ask them, are you giving yourself what you want from them? And then the answer is always no. And so then, can I really give that to myself? I can learn how to do that. And then the partner will be able to meet me there. And if they are not, then most probably we're going to take separate paths. Doesn't have to be like that, but that's what I've seen often. Do you feel the same in that regard?
Yeah. Yeah, I think one thing I also say is like self-responsibility is sexy. It's so sexy. And like you said, okay, well, are you really meeting yourself there? And how are you showing up and how are you contributing? And then, okay, if I'm really giving it my very best practice, that's when I realized, okay, it's time for me to walk away from this marriage. And, you know, I contributed equally into some of our unhealthy experiences. We both showed up in very, because often we just go into relationships and we just create from where we are at without even really knowing how to be in a healthy relationship. So I contributed in so many ways, just as much as he has had. But then I was like, right, Nat, if you really want to have your answer here, you have to give it your very best practice. So so I did all this inner work, and I tried just to really open myself up to my husband and really give it my very best. And when I realized, okay, to the best of my ability, probably still never ever perfect, but I could really feel, okay, it's just not feeling right. And I just got the answer because I knew there's nothing else that I feel is within my capability anymore that I'm ready to continue on with. And so I just had my answer there, and I knew it was time to separate.
Yeah, and I really want to point that out. Like, there's no shame in separation, but so many people still do feel a lot of shame. Like, even though we are in a different time, different generations, and at the same time, we still hold somewhere in the unconscious the idea that if we get married, we got to stay together, and a divorce is shameful. And then, like, and even though people know now that it's not so shameful and it happens so much, we still don't really talk about it. We still don't really create the space to really shine light upon. And then, especially, how can we divorce in a conscious way, in a loving way? Like both of us, we've experienced this now. You with your husband, I'm with my recent partner. Also, we uncoupled in friendship. And for me, that has been so profoundly healing. to uncouple and create a new relationship. And actually, we're still in each other's life. We're friends. We even speak about each other's. We have shared about our sex life that we've had with other people, and we like, oh yeah, this has happened, and this was coming up, and like, oh yeah, I know that, I remember that, and that is possible also. Yeah.
What do you feel like it was for you that helped it become beautiful now? What do you think helped you guys that it could actually stay beautiful and become even, differently beautiful?
It was our shared desire to continue being in each other's life. We love each other so much. We care for each other so much. And we both, from the beginning, when we came together, we said we want to grow. So that was really like we both knew that we come into this life to grow. And we both knew that we only want to be really as a committed couple in each other's life if we're still really growing. And we grew so much in 6 years. But then at one point, we were in a certain dynamic. We also could just not change the dynamic. We were just kind of caught in there. And we both felt it was time for us to let each other go, to give each other space to change this dynamic. And we had a certain archetype playing out, the brother and sister archetype. And we were so deeply in that archetype, but we also had other archetypes very much, but that one was very strong. And we both really wanted to shift that. And we both decided, let's give each other space so that we can, and we stay in each other's life. We're there for each other. And who knows, maybe we'll get together. Like it's not anything is finite. Yeah. So I don't think really, because I feel like we have different visions, similar visions, but there are certain different traits that are there. And I'm seeing already how our life is taking shape. But it's so beautiful to not like have a beginning and then an end and then it's finished and we're not in each other's life anymore. This is so, that goes against our nature. Like we are one being. The Veda says we're one non-dual being. And that's why the separation hurts so terribly, because we're doing something that goes completely against what our truth is. And so, yeah, so it was this shared desire to be in each other's life and to grow.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Grow.
Grow. Like we're here to grow. And we're here to be free. Like we're born to be free. We are free beings. But we don't feel free. We don't know exactly what we are. We have projected our happiness and wholeness to something and someone other than ourselves. And so like we have become very strong mirrors to each other. And we're still mirrors to each other. I still like it's still there and still mirroring things in me, and it's marvelous. It's marvelous. Yeah. Yeah, relationship. What a beautiful, marvelous phenomena.
Yeah, I think it's so beautiful that, what we probably see and have learned that often marriages, when they fail, or relationships when they end, there's usually like a fight. And it's just so, it doesn't have to be that way. There doesn't have to be a fight to destroy.
Yeah.
Maybe there can be fight to rebuild. Let's
Yeah,
fight together to make it better or different, or to rebuild in different ways, but let's not fight to destroy.
exactly. Let's fight to, yeah, destroy that which is not serving and then rebuild that which we want to build together. Yeah. Yeah, this is really, I want everyone to actually experience that, like a sacred uncoupling. It's so empowering, so deeply empowering and healing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mm.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
So,
just one thing, because I think that it doesn't make it so scary.
mm,
I know for me, it felt scary to leave the marriage. And then when we came together and we talked about it, and we made it, good, we created for it to feel good, as it can, but that we are, there were certain, okay, what do you need? Listen to each other's needs. That really made it feel good to separate. And it doesn't actually have to be bad. It can be good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it can be, yeah, what is good and bad, but it can really, it can be another story than what our parents live, right? Basically, it's that. Because the example we have is the drama and the pain of our parents. Like my parents got divorced, your parents divorced, and 99% of humanity, we play out what our parents lived. And I've done that in my previous relationship, and and now we're really rewiring the nervous system, creating new patterns, and we are like we're showing that it's different. It can be different. Doesn't have to be so dramatic. And I like to call it from drama to dharma. Just like neutralize the drama and turn it into your dharma, into your healthy fight, into your war of love. And we're here to love, and we're here for a higher purpose, really. We come as human beings for a higher purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think going back to the diamond, that was really why I joined the diamond. And I really wanted to fine tune that. And I know we did this death ritual that was and I think because I've done it, I did it actually just a year before. I also did this death ritual, but because it was in this dharmic, what are you really here for, and really connecting to this, what am I really here for? And the death ritual was just became so clear. This is really what you're here for. What are really my values? How to live true to that, and to get my ass into gear.
You're sexy ass.
My sexy ass. Really live true to that. Like, it's just like, come on. And it just gave such clarity. And in some ways, like, it was like this whole rebirthing within myself. And at the same time, all of a sudden, I had like all these deaths around me. And it was just so clear, okay, well, what do you really want to be doing with this life? Like, you have this life. It's so precious. How do you really want to be living
Yeah.
your path? And within, like, I think within like 3 days after, almost like every decision that I made was like, okay, well, is this true to your path? And it was just so easy just to let go of people. It was just so easy just to let go, to say no to things. It was just so easy to say yes to certain things. Like, it just almost became like this clear map of, okay, this is really yes or no, or this is really true to your path. And yeah, that ritual was very, very, yeah, for me, it was very, very life changing.
Yeah, because when we're polishing the diamond, right, we're really taking away all the dirt, all that is there clogging, hindering from this diamond to just shine. And like that's what we've been doing. We've been polishing this diamond, seeing where am I not fully living in integrity? Where am I compromising my values? And where am I not choosing myself? Where am I choosing out of fear instead of out of trust and love and freedom? Yeah. So it is a death, like it is when we choose this spiritual path and when we choose freedom, we die. Like a part of us, many part of us die that have protected us, that have helped us to survive, that have served its purpose, and we die like it's a metaphor in deep love and gratitude for all these parts. But then there is rebirth to walk our dharma. And what do you feel like? What have you come here for? Like you spoke about, like to be here as the fullness that you are, but also in terms of your dharma, how you see yourself as a coach, established as a leader in this world. What has come through, especially in this death rebirth ritual?
I think my number value, and it's been like a battle my whole life because it was very unhealthy before, but my really core value is to give. And before I would give in order to receive love, and like to be really clear, okay, like I'm really here to give. I'm here to help others. I'm here to make somebody's day. I'm here to help animals. I'm here to really give my time and energy. And because I've had burnout before and all different ways of showing up where it didn't feel good to give, but it's just now it's like it's almost like this acceptance. You are here to give. And what feels actually, how can it feel really good to give? And it just has set this clear guideline of this is your value and how can you give in the most beautiful ways. And I think before was giving in ways that didn't feel good, and now I really get to give in ways that feel good. And and especially I guess otherwise I wouldn't be doing the work that I do if I wouldn't really want to give the learnings, my time, my energy, but just generally. And I think I learned that really because I did training when I was in Mexico. And I think there, when I'm there, it feels so good to give. And it can just be a smile. It can just be a moment of presence. It can just be somebody in need, an animal in need. And just that really is my path to give.
Yeah. And there's such a subtle but profound differentiation between giving to receive attention, to receive love, to deserve love, to neutralize our sense of guilt, which is very strong in our Western society, or to really give because that's your nature. It comes from this place of fullness. Like we are here to give, to contribute, to, and when there are no hooks there, and there are no hooks. Okay, I'm going to give you this now. You have to give me that, and then that's the freedom for the one that gives and the one that receives, especially because that's
Yeah.
very, very rare, very unique.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was really one of the big, you know, what I love about these practices, it's, you know, the takeaways are often simple but very profound. And just to give and for it to feel good. And I think it just helps. What I loved about the diamond is it just helps to neutralize so many things of how have you been brought up and actually what is really true to me. And again, with the giving, okay, this feels good. This feels aligned in myself to give this way, not because I've been taught to give a certain way. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I can feel like this polishing of the diamond. It's just like really like polishing, polishing, polishing. Because we all are a diamond. And the diamond is again is a metaphor, right? That we are precious, most precious beings. And we can reflect. We reflect. We become a sacred mirror to the world so that they can see their preciousness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, you know, what that really helped me as well is, okay, well, I have desires and my desires are my desires. And because we dive too deep into shame and guilt, no, my desires are my desires. And it's okay to live true to my desires. It's okay to live true to my desires and without the shame and guilt that maybe sometimes we can feel from friends or family or just within ourselves. But it really gave me that permission to, okay, I have desires and this is the life I want to be living. And, you know, we talked a lot in the diamond about sex and money and really living your path true to you. And it just gave what I loved. It just gave this permission. It's okay to be true to your desires.
Yes, it's so big. So big. What we're discussing here, it's so profound because like we're a society that lives, thrives, actually not thrives, but survives on guilt and shame. We're filled with guilt and shame. It's like there in our bones, in our genitals, in our being. Ugh. Like, and to free ourselves from this guilt and shame, we really only do it through feeling the depths of this guilt and shame that we've been carrying for centuries, millennia, and it's sneaky. Like, I mean, I am in awe, like how sneaky this guilt and shame is. It's like these layers are, yeah,
Mm.
they're very sneaky. Very sneaky, because if I like if there's not because if there's things that I want to do but I'm not doing them, like there's something there. There's a reason for that. That if I'm comparing myself to others and envying others, judging others, it shows me that I actually want what they have, but a part of me is holding me back. And we all have desires, and they're precious, they're sacred, and to follow them, it's wow, what a permission. Like that when you, I, we all follow our desire, dharmic desires that are going to benefit everyone else. The desire to be wealthy, the desire to be have an amazing life, the desire to do what we love and to get paid for it. We don't need to feel shame for that. We can feel proud of that. And then we're going to share. Like, we want to just give more, because also, like, whatever is already there, it will be brought out. So you always wanted to give. And now you discover that you just want to give more. And the more well and established and money you have, the more you can give. Yeah, we know that it's not going to serve us to just keep it all for ourselves. Like, it's not who we are. And I know so many beings, especially women, have really like this fear of I mean, I am really speaking actually for me. Like, I've really had this fear that I don't give enough. Like, and so then there was also this guilt. Sometimes I would give out of guilt, but then no, like, it's also natural to me to really give because I've been given so much and I just want to give back what I've been given, and share what is given, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. So we dove into some very deep, deep topics. And like you said, that shame and guilt was like, but also that's where the liberation is, isn't it? When we dig into the shame. We become vulnerable in our shame. It's just like, well, what am I then really scared of? Okay, I just revealed it. And I'm
This
still
was
alive.
it.
I'm still alive. I'm
This was
still
it. I was
living.
just so ashamed of this, but I'm still alive. This was it. Yeah. Yeah. But if we don't reveal it, like, it holds us back. It captures us. It holds us a prisoner. And then we're not doing what we want to be doing. And we get sick. Like, we get sick, we get dull, we get depressed, we get angry, we get, yeah, we're going against ourselves, basically. And that is what's painful. Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, well, this was wonderful. Like, there's so many more things to discuss. Is there, like, how can people join you if they want to join your world and learn from you, be guided by you? You do intimacy coaching for singles, for couples. You offer very special private retreats in your casita. Share a little bit, like, what you do and how people can join you.
Yes, I work online in groups or individuals, with individuals and couples, and all about creating a healthy relationship with yourself so you can also have a healthy relationship with others and live the life that you're living as well. And you can also come and visit me here in Spain. I have a guest apartment, and there we do inner work together and help you transform. And I also offer the same in Tulum, Mexico as well. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
Mm.
Oh, thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to share before we close here?
Just thank you for the diamond experience. And it felt so good to do this at the start of the year. And it just like planted the seeds in so many ways in the things that I wanted to work on, that I wanted to grow. And I feel like it's like the different seeds have been planted and now they're gently starting to sprout and grow and flourish. And, you know, I also just want to say, like, such admiration to you in the space that you held, like the time and energy that you've put into, and the group that we were in with all these amazing other people, like all leaders in their own ways, doing different things. And you just create this like big container for us all to be in. And it just felt so safe. And so you have this amazing ability that you can just be like, okay, well, you know what? All of me is just welcome. I can just share all of me. I can just, and whether this is being fully present at times, or taking a step back, or sharing something or not sharing something, or it's just like, you know, like it's just everything just was welcome, that just be who you are and what is right and true for you. And it was just so beautiful to have that experience, and you just made it so safe. And really, like, I was in awe, the time and energy and the wisdom that kept coming through each voice message that everybody left, or things they wanted to share in the group chat, in person, online, or just in the Telegram group. Like, just such, we all learned from each other. And the wisdom that you shared with one person, you know, resonated always with me. It was just so, like, so well-rounded. I think probably I would have to say I've been in many different coaching programs, but this really felt the most well-rounded, safely held container I've been in. And just thank you. Like, it's been really, I was like, I didn't know in the beginning what was I really signing up for. I just had this feeling. I was like, no, I want to be there. I want to be there with you. And I'm just so glad I listened.
Wow, brings tears to my eyes.
And especially for all that we have shared since we're children.
Yeah, since we're children. Oh my God. Ah. What a life. Thank you so much, Natalie. It really means and touches me so deeply. It was a big initiation for me as well to host this first round of the Diamond with you, with my sister Melanie and Mario, a dear old friend, and then all the others who have been students of mine for a long time, and bringing worlds together, which there's really only one world, but sometimes it can feel as if there are many worlds, and we just brought it all together. And so, yeah, thank you so much for your trust and love, and I look forward to all that is blooming, and for many, many, many more magical, sexy, rich moments. Oh, and thank you everyone who has been with us here in this episode. If you have been listening, watching, I love to hear from you how this episode touched you. Your questions are welcomed. And if you feel that this can serve another person, please share this episode. That will help us also to grow, and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to leave a review, that will help to reach a wider audience, so that we can all, remind each other that we are born to be free. Thank you so much for tuning in, for being you. Send you all the love, and until next time. From my heart to yours, deepest gratitude for your presence. May you follow your wildest dreams, live your highest purpose, and expand into the infinite, because that's what you are.